Welcome to the Overcomer's Journal. Today we're looking at Lesson 15, and it's on the subject of betrayal. How do you overcome the wrongdoings of others in your life? The year was 44 BC. It was March 15th when 60 Roman senators approached and assaulted Julius Caesar because they feared of his tyrannical power in Rome. They were coming to assault him and to kill him. Among that group was a man by the name of Marcus Brutus. Brutus was like a son to Julius Caesar. And as he pulled out his dagger ready to stab Julius Caesar, Julius looked at Marcus and simply said, "Brutus, you too?" And 60 times they stabbed him to his death. Historians say that it was not the butchering that really hurt him the most, but rather it was the betrayal by his closest ally. You know, betrayal always hurts. And it's something that if you are fortunate enough never to have experienced, you are considered to be a blessed individual indeed. But those that know what it's like to be betrayed by an ally or a friend understand the severity of that mistrust in their life. You know, I think about Joseph, who was betrayed by his brothers, or David, who was betrayed by Absalom, his own son. Even Jesus Christ, who was betrayed by his own disciple for 30 pieces of silver. You know, we expect our enemies to betray us. We expect our foes and our adversaries to do us wrong. But the pain is much greater when our friends turn their back on us and they abuse that relationship. So the question becomes, how do you respond as a child of God when you indeed have been betrayed by those whom you love? So the first thing we must do is guard our hearts against taking revenge in our own hands. You know, the first inclination, I think, of anyone who's been betrayed is that mentality of an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth. But the Bible says this, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." And so when we take matters into our own hands, we are ultimately putting ourselves in the same condemnation as those who have betrayed us. Let God work out the situations and the circumstances of life. At the end, God is fair and God is just, and He will take care of us in His own righteousness. You know, the second way to overcome being betrayed is to extend some measure of mercy, some measure of grace to those who've done us wrong. Forgiveness is the greatest way to heap coals of contrition over the head of the betrayer. And I realize that's easier said than done, but the reality is we have to look at how Christ has forgiven us. And there might be people in your life that doesn't even want forgiveness or doesn't even seek forgiveness from you. But somewhere in your heart you have to release them. And that's not justifying their actions. That's not letting them get away with something. Instead, that's acknowledging their wrongdoing and you making a conscious decision to let go of that thing that's holding you down. By forgiving them, whether they want it or not, you are doing what Christ has done for you. He has forgiven you of your many trespasses and sins. And then finally today, we overcome betrayal by making sure we do not allow that betrayal to contaminate other relationships in our life. You know, I think it's easy when we have been in a situation where trust has been abused, in a relationship where somebody has really maligned that bond of friendship. It may contaminate and pollute other relationships. We have to guard ourselves from letting that happen. Just because one individual has maybe stabbed you in the back doesn't mean that you should allow other relationships to suffer as a result of that. And so be sure to love as Christ loved, forgive as Christ forgave. And if you've been fortunate enough not to have been betrayed, then indeed you have been blessed in this life. If you have experienced betrayal, realize that Christ is able to heal those wounds as you lay them at the altar and seek His mercy and His grace. I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week as we continue this study in the Overcomer's Journal.